I am here back with my argument of policy speech. Today we're going to talk about something that is really controversial in the sports world, and that's the NBA's one and done rule. In 2005, there was a big controversy affecting this sport, and that was this rule that actually ended up coming about. And it was the creation of a collective bargaining agreement, which is also known as the CBA. And the NBA had one, and it was agreed upon by the NBA and the NBAPA, which is the NBA Players Association, which is made up of millionaires, billionaires, and it is also acquiesced by collegiate millionaires, specifying certain rules according to Coleman Collins. This rule was stated in Article X, Section 1 of the CBA, mandating NBA prospects to be at least 19 years of age and 1 year removed of high school. This led to it being known as the one and done feeder system, which led to it being called the one and done rule. So today we have three main ideas we're going to look at when talking about this speech, and that is, what's the big idea of this rule? Obviously, are collegiate coaches supporting the change back to the original policy when you can go straight out of high school to get drafted instead of going straight to college, instead of having to come to college? And what makes this a better choice for the NBA to go back to the original policy? And it makes a lot of sense. So we're going to start with the first, what's the big deal? So the rule is a big deal at one point where the FBI actually had to get involved. The FBI got involved thanks to lots of families being recruited by college basketball families being recruited. And they were being paid over $100,000 or more by schools, specifically Adidas-sponsored schools. Adidas was at the core of the FBI investigation, and they were being used to pay the families attending colleges with Adidas deals. That way they get free gear, clothing. It's pretty basic for Adidas. This also allowed them to be more connected to coaches and agents once they get going, to be more connected to the recruits. As you can see, it's always all about the money. That's all it is about, and that's why there's some players go over the seas to play, and they'll come back instead of going straight to the NBA or going to college, like Emmanuel Mudiay and guys like that. Next, now that we've went over that, we have college coaches. These are all ACC coaches. I've tried to find other ones, but these are the most associated college coaches with this rule who have made a standpoint. Not too long ago, after the 2017 NBA Finals, Commissioner Adam Silver came out in a press conference and said the eligibility rule was not working for anyone. And a lot of college coaches came out and said something after that, such as Kevin Keatts, Roy Williams, and Coach K. We're going to start with Coach K. He came out in November in 2017 and said, I would be totally cool with kids going straight to the NBA. And he's always been in favor of that, and he doesn't want to put restrictions on them. I think Coach K is, as a big coach in college sports, I think he really wants what's best for the team, but this is about the policy straight up. And I think he knows that there's something that's going to happen soon, which I think we all know could be happening soon. Many talks have been going on about it. Next we have Roy Williams, who coaches at North Carolina. He said there's nothing perfect. The one and done has been helpful to the NBA because they haven't made any mistakes. I kind of agree with that because they really haven't made a mistake with this rule until this past season when everybody knows who Zion Williamson is. He was a dunking phenom out of Spartanburg, South Carolina. He was a heavily recruited prospect, and he had the potential to go straight to the NBA, in which he will be declaring for the NBA draft at the end of the month, which he has. He's a top prospect, could be the number 1 overall pick. We'll get to him a little bit later on. Last, we have Coach Kevin Keatts of North Carolina State. He came out and said, I think they should change the rule. If you're good enough to come out and play, you can go play in the league. And I think that's just summarizing the basic points of, yes, this needs to happen, go straight to do it. Go do it. With the possibility of going back to the original rule and NBA players being drafted out of high school, will this affect the NBA's future? Absolutely. This affects college basketball's future just as well, but I think it affects the NBA more. In the early part of 2019, right before All-Star break for the NBA league, the league sent a proposal to the NCAA, lowering, and they were going to agree on lowering the minimum age for entering the NBA draft from 18 to 19. Sorry, from 19 to 18. Apologies. There are many reasons why. One of them is the Zion effect, I believe. And then there's also other players in the NBA standing up who are not in the NBA PA, stating that they should be able to go straight to the league. So let's start off with the Zion effect. Duke phenom Zion Williamson. I've already brought him up a little bit earlier in this, but he's known for his crazy athleticism and high-flying dunks. This guy is a monster. When he got hurt playing against North Carolina, in the first 45 seconds, there's a big controversy about what apparel brand would he go to after he broke through his Nikes. And with the Zion getting hurt, that could have been a major factor in why the NBA goes back to the original policy, because college kids could lose a season eligibility in one game, and then have to wait, and then they're going to declare for the draft in the first place. So this all goes back to the marketing of the apparel and just tough decisions being made. Next, we have other players supporting the policy, such as Jason Tatum and DeMarcus Cousins. Jason Tatum is in his sophomore season now with the Celtics, who are currently in the NBA playoffs. And he thinks, and he came out in an interview and said, I think if you're good enough, it's a good idea. If you're good enough to come out of high school, I feel like you should be able to. Basically, he's saying the same thing as Coach Kevin Keatts. But I think there's a lot of people stating this too in different ways that just makes it easy. However, DeMarcus Cousins, center for the Golden State Warriors, came out and asked his interview on this, and he said, what's the difference between 18 and 19 and 17 and 18? You're immature, you're young, and you're self-ignorant to life in general. So what's the difference? You still have a lot of growing to do as a man, so why not go to the league earlier? So I think that takes a hard shot at why the league needs to go back to the old policy and the original policy, which is really important. So we're going to recap here. So after reviewing all the aspects and the impact that can be made by this NBA, the one and done rule, all college basketball itself, thanks to things such as the Zion effect, coaches standing up, and the FBI getting involved, there are so many things that can play a factor in what's going on for the league making this change. And the NBA has a tough decision to make in this future, which could be, and there have been talks that this deal could be done by 2020 and 2022. So before I end today, guys, I have a question for you guys. Let me know where you guys stand on NBA's one and done policy, and you think it's a good idea to go back to the original policy. Other than that, thank you for watching. We're done.